Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. So a lot of people in the comments have been asking us why we're not using our Eastonmade axis anymore. And the answer is we still are using it. We're just using it differently now. And I think that goes to show you the versatility of this machine. If you're just getting into a firewood business, it can be your primary machine that you use for making firewood. But as your business starts to grow, it may be your secondary machine as well. So it can be a primary or secondary machine. Let me show you how we're using it as our secondary machine now. So as you guys know, we've been doing quite a few videos with the Yappa 365 Plus Basic lately. That's because we've got a supplier now who can get us a consistent, reliable size of firewood poles that will go through this machine. And there's no doubt about it, a firewood processor is going to be better than a chainsaw and a hydraulic splitter any day of the week. But this thing will still, no matter what size wedge you put in it, 4-way, 6-way, 8-way, eventually you will have a log that is bigger than the size wedge that you have in there, because in the real world, you know, I've got, you know, maybe an 8 to 10 inch log, a 6-inch log, a 4-inch log, and then I go up to, you know, a 10 or 12-inch log. I'm not going to swap out my wedge for each of those logs. So I'm going to try to size my log rack logs as close as I can so I can leave the same wedge in there all the time. But occasionally it's going to happen, you're going to have different size logs all ready to feed at the same time. So you're going to get bigger chunks that come out of here eventually. There's just no way around it. For the most part, it all comes out really nice. But eventually, you know, after probably 3 cords of logs that we've run through there, you are going to get a little side pile of logs that are bigger, or firewood that's bigger than what I'd like to sell. So my general rule of thumb for firewood is I want to be able to grab it easily with one hand and not have it break my wrist. So like this piece of red oak here, even though, you know, I've got pretty big hands, I'm 6'5", this piece of firewood is still too big for me to pick up with one hand. So, you know, that makes it easy if you're buying firewood so that, you know, your wife or your daughter or whoever could pick up the firewood, load the wood stove, and it's manageable for everybody.
All right, guys, I need to pause here. I know somebody's going to be offended by what I just said and threaten to unsubscribe because I'm a sexist. It's not my intention to say that women can't pick up bigger pieces of firewood. I'm just speaking from personal experience. I maintain our wood stove in the winter about 90% of the time, but on a cold January Saturday afternoon, I'll probably be outside working, and Alana is going to be the one keeping up with the wood stove. And I know she appreciates when I have smaller splits set next to the wood stove for her so she can handle them easier. If your wife or daughter can wrestle the big hunks into the fire, more power to them. In my view, that isn't sexist, it's just being courteous. I hate that we live in a world where I feel like I have to pause the video to explain that, but that's where we are. Anyway, back to the video.
But that's how I like to size my firewood that I'm selling. So that is where the Eastonmade axis comes in, because what I do is I'll pile up all of my wood that comes out that's bigger than I'd like in a basket, bring it over here. And now my secondary use for this machine is as a re-splitter to give me the final product that I'm looking for. So as you can see, I've got kind of a pile of all of my stuff that isn't finished yet in baskets here around the Eastonmade axis. So before we get started, I've got to jockey around some of these baskets and, you know, get a pile or a basket that needs resplit, and then an empty one to start putting finished product into and get kind of a little assembly line going on here. So let's jockey around some baskets and then we'll fire up the Eastonmade axis. One more thing, just to give you an accurate representation of the ratio of bigger wood to finished product wood, this basket right here was out of one dump trailer, and all the rest of the wood is in these 3 baskets over here. So we've got 1, 2, and almost a half basket of stuff that came off the Yappa perfectly ready to go, and then only a little over half of a basket that needs resplit. So in case you were wondering how difficult it is to size up, it's not really that hard, but like I said, occasionally you get some bigger stuff out of it that needs resplit. Oh, and here's how much scrap you get out of one dump trailer load. Some, but it's good to have around for kindling. Well, there you go, guys. We got that whole mess of big chunk wood split down smaller into the size pieces that I like to sell. We got all of our half-empty baskets consolidated into full baskets, so we opened up some more empty ones now that we can go ahead and put more wood into. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely love running this Eastonmade Axis. I don't run it as much as I used to, like I said, because we've got the processor to do our primary wood production. But man, re-splitting with this thing, this is awesome. We will always have a home for the Eastonmade Axis here on the property for re-splitting. I understand not everybody is looking to get into the business of firewood, but like I said, if you're just getting into the business of actually starting to sell cordwood, this is a great machine to get you started. It's kind of the step above your kinetic splitters, your hydraulic splitters. And then when you're ready to take that next step, then you get into a processor and use this as your re-splitter. But yeah, we are starting to catch back up on firewood here. We've got, let's see, let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, 25, 26. We've got 26 baskets, IBC totes full of firewood. Now, I mentioned before, you know, you can tell the wood that's seasoned here by the color of it. So all that dark stuff there, probably till like right there, is all gonna be seasoned and ready to sell this year. But I mentioned before, I've got a plan for getting all the stuff that we are cutting and splitting right now and how we're gonna make it ready to burn this winter. One other thing I forgot to mention that we will also be using the Eastonmade Axis for is not just re-splitting, but also for the wood that we get that is too big to run through the firewood processor. So this entire pile here is too big or too crooked to go through the processor. And so all this stuff's gonna have to be done with the chainsaw and the Eastonmade Axis. But I'm gonna be waiting until fall or winter to be doing that because that's just a lot more manual labor and it's 85 degrees out here right now. Anyway, I think that's gonna about wrap this one up. If you guys enjoyed this one, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.